As with all living things on Earth, trees have a unique and fascinating process of growth and development. Let's explore how it works. It all starts with the seed. Trees have many methods for dispersing seeds, which can range from simply dropping them on the ground, using wind, or even getting a helping hand from animals and insects. Seeds can come in many shapes and sizes. Some can also be hidden within pine cones or fruits. Others have papery wings that transport them further from the tree, and so on. Once settled, seeds often have a long period of dormancy, particularly during winter. When the weather finally improves, they soak up water from the warming soil and split open in a process called germination. The first root starts making its way into the ground, and a few days later, the seed leaves emerge. After a few more weeks, the seedling transforms into a young tree with a true stem, wood, bark, and leaves. Meanwhile, the taproot spawns new roots that grow laterally along the topsoil. From these, tiny single-celled roots reach out to grab individual particles of soil, absorbing the water and nutrients. This grasp also improves the soil's resistance against erosion, protecting the surrounding environment. Roots can also sometimes grow above the ground for extra stability. The leaves absorb light through a process called photosynthesis, and their placement is usually designed to prevent shading each other. Deciduous trees shed their leaves during cold periods, while evergreen trees maintain them all year. Trees often go through intense periods of growth, followed by long periods of rest. In temperate climates, most of a tree's annual growth can occur in just a few weeks during spring. Unlike human and animal bodies, trees have only a few areas of active cell reproduction. These are known as meristems and are located at the tips of young branches and around the trunk, from where all growth occurs. When conditions become too cold or too dry, growth slows down and the tree sprouts protective waterproof buds around these zones. Finally, when a tree is old enough to release its own seeds, the cycle repeats. Many tree species can live for hundreds or thousands of years. While they are subject to old age, death usually occurs due to external stressors such as floods, fires, strong winds, and human intervention. This fascinating process is just one of the many reasons why we love trees. Trees are a constant presence in our lives, as we have relied on them for shelter and food for millions of years. Sadly, they are being removed by growing industry and consumer demand at a historic rate. But why exactly do we need them? Let's explore the 6 key pillars of how trees help us and our environment. Have you ever noticed that the air feels fresher in a forest? That's because trees act as natural air filters, absorbing harmful pollutants. This is especially vital in urban areas, which are often polluted by industry and transportation. They can reduce up to 24% of particulate matter around them, cleaning the air and cooling our heat-trapping cities. Trees are also a major line of defense against floods and landslides. Their intricate root systems slow down water's absorption into the soil and help prevent waterslide erosion. A single evergreen tree can intercept up to 15,000 liters of water a year, and in areas prone to dangerous floods, this is crucial. Forests are home to 80% of Earth's terrestrial plant and animal species. A single tree can house hundreds of species of insect, fungi, mammals, and plants. Likewise, trees depend on their residents to disperse seeds, control insects, and keep them from overgrowing, which leads to healthy and thriving ecosystems. Trees are not just important for the environment, but for our society as well. Over 1.6 billion people directly or indirectly depend on forests for their livelihoods. That includes relying on the natural resources as well as the job opportunities they provide. From arborists to loggers and researchers, the forestry industry employs millions. Everyone knows the feeling of calm and elation when walking through a forest. Trees are known to reduce stress and anxiety and protect our skin from harmful solar radiation. They have been found to prevent almost $7 billion in health costs across the United States annually by filtering air pollution and improving our mental health. The air filtration effects of trees add up on a planetary scale. They cool the Earth by absorbing and storing carbon dioxide and converting it into oxygen. A single tree can absorb as much as 48 pounds of CO2, making trees the most effective carbon capture machines we have available.
Trees and forests are constantly cleaning our air and improving our air quality. They exhale the oxygen we need to breathe, while absorbing carbon dioxide and other air pollution. Here are 4 things that trees do for our atmosphere that are essential for our health and our quality of life. Trees create oxygen. Trees are constantly absorbing carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen as a byproduct of producing the carbohydrates they require to grow. Proper oxygen levels are necessary for humans and all other animals to live. In heavily polluted cities, people are already going to the extremes of purchasing tanks of oxygen to help them breathe. Planting enough trees in and near these cities will help provide the needed oxygen and also help these cities reduce their air pollution. Rainforests have often been called the lungs of the earth because they produce so much of the world's oxygen. The fact is that trees planted anywhere in the world will produce life-giving oxygen, which can travel through the global air currents, ultimately making all trees beneficial to everyone, everywhere. Trees reduce air pollution. Trees absorb and break down most of the major air pollutants, including ground-level ozone, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and carbon monoxide. Just as we easily breathe these gases into our lungs, potentially causing us serious health issues, trees breathe them in as they draw in CO2, removing them from the air. Trees also absorb tiny particles of pollution and smog that land on their leaves and bark. Within the trees, these chemicals go through a series of biochemical reactions, which can convert them to non-harmful compounds. Due to this amazing power of trees, large forests are like giant air purifiers that help clean our air, supporting human health and longevity, as well as all life on Earth. Trees remove humid hazes. Air pollution and water particles suspended in the air create humid haze, which has many negative impacts, including trapping in heat, reducing visibility, and causing respiratory illness. Due to the small size of air pollution particles, they remain dispersed rather than collecting into droplets that would form clouds and fall as rain. Large forests can dramatically reduce these hazes by giving off water vapor along with friendly bacteria that trigger the humid hazes to form into clouds. The pollution and water then rains down into the forests where the trees and soil microorganisms break most of the pollutants down into safer compounds. Trees prevent dust storms. There are many areas in the world where all of the original plant life has been cleared and the exposed soil has turned to dust. Without trees and vegetation to slow down the winds, hold the soil in place, and keep the soil moist, the strong winds pick up the dry dust and carry it hundreds of miles. Dust storms have become huge problems in areas without plant cover, such as Texas, Arizona, the Middle East, and China. These dust storms cover everything in fine dust, causing mechanical failures, lung problems, loss of visibility, and a number of other problems, including spreading disease. The increase of droughts due to climate change is making dust storms like these worse each year. Replanting enough trees in these areas can make the soil healthy and moist again, preventing dust storms and rebuilding healthy ecosystems. As you can see, trees and forests are essential for cleaning the air we breathe. Forests have had a huge role in making our atmosphere breathable and keeping the land and air stable for millions of years. Most scientists estimate that as much as half of our original tree cover has now been lost. It's up to us to bring those forests back so that they can continue to provide us the clean air we depend on them for.
How tree planting can help reverse climate change. Planting enough trees could be the most effective way to successfully overcome climate change, and it's something we can easily do now by each of us helping to plant a tree a day. Too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere holds the sun's heat in like a blanket, causing serious changes in global temperatures, which in turn causes extreme weather patterns and ultimately the rising of the oceans. Trees take this carbon dioxide out of the air as they grow, storing it as wood while also helping to store more carbon in the soil below them. Planting enough trees can restore balance to our atmosphere by converting the excess carbon dioxide into healthy ecosystems and into thousands of useful resources that people need. While trees' ability to remove carbon dioxide and restore balance to our atmosphere is simply amazing, here are 4 additional ways that trees help keep the planet cool. Trees create clouds that help cool the earth. The clouds that are created by trees and forests play a huge role in keeping the Earth cool by reflecting the sun's heat back into space before it reaches the Earth. It's estimated that if we could increase the world's cloud cover by just 3% through tree planting, so much less of the sun's heat would reach the Earth that these extra clouds alone could cool the Earth enough to counteract climate change. Forests keep the ground cool. Forests' mighty canopies shade the ground and waters beneath them. This keeps the Earth cooler and protects the living soil, which would otherwise dry out and become lifeless. This is very important as living soil can store an incredible amount of carbon, keeping climate change-causing carbon dioxide out of our atmosphere. When soil becomes too hot and dry, the carbon molecules in the soil rebond with oxygen and release carbon dioxide back into the air. But even areas that have become desert-like can be restored by simply planting enough trees. Large-scale reforestation can help store so much carbon back in the soil that it has the potential to remove all of the excess carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, allowing the Earth's climate to come back into balance. Trees cool the atmosphere by cleaning it. Around cities and industrial zones, air pollution molecules combine with water vapor, hovering in what's called a humid haze and trapping in more of the sun's heat. As we explain in our video how trees help create the fresh water supply, many trees breathe out both water vapor and friendly bacteria that assist in the formation of clouds. These bacteria trigger the water vapor and air pollution molecules to cluster into droplets that then fall to the ground. This removes these hazes from our skies, allowing the sun's heat to exit again and the Earth to cool. Trees convert the sun's energy into life. Since sunlight powers photosynthesis, the sun's heat is literally used up as the leaves and needles do their job, converting carbon dioxide and water into the building blocks of plant matter while creating oxygen. This plant matter becomes food for animals, and the energy then continues up the food chain. So the miracle of photosynthesis both protects the Earth from overheating and provides the basis for all life on the planet. Planting trees is a huge part of the solution to climate change. Knowing that trees maintain our atmosphere, keep the Earth cool by shading it with clouds and canopies, regulate much of the planet's fresh water cycle, and create the building blocks of all life, we simply have to be in awe at the amazing service that trees provide us. How trees help create the fresh water supply. Trees and forests play a key role in producing the planet's fresh water supply by both creating and attracting clouds, and by guiding rainwater into rivers, lakes, and the underground water table. Restoring currently damaged land with tree planting is the most effective way to secure a continual supply of water for drinking, agriculture, and to support all life. Here are 4 major ways that trees manage the water cycle. Trees add moisture to the air and create clouds. Trees draw water up from their roots all the way to their leaves, where it becomes water vapor and is exhaled into the air. At the same time, the tree's leaves release friendly bacteria that trigger the airborne water vapor to cluster together, forming clouds. These clouds also attract higher clouds in the sky that would have otherwise passed over these regions, combining with them to bring additional rain to the forest. This process circulates water from deep underground into the air and back down to the Earth. Trees also slow rainfall. Rain falls to the ground quickly. Without trees or other plants, it rapidly runs into the rivers, taking topsoil with it, reducing an area's fertility while increasing flooding, landslides, and erosion. When rain falls on a forest, the leaves and needles of the trees slow the raindrops down dramatically, gently bringing the rain down to the forest floor. Trees then help soak the water into the ground. The rainfall on the forest floor then soaks into the top layer of soil, which the trees have helped to make healthy and absorbent. The water captured by this spongy soil gradually filters down through channels created by the tree's roots and soil organisms into the underground waterways of the water table. From here, gravity continues to draw the water through the earth until it emerges as a spring that feeds streams and rivers, or until it is drawn up from the ground through wells. Trees keep rivers and streams cool and protected. As the rivers and streams make their way to the sea, the shade provided by the surrounding trees keeps the water from evaporating too quickly, allowing the rivers to flow more abundantly, which enhances the value of the river to all surrounding life. The roots of the trees also hold the riverbanks together, reducing erosion and holding the integrity of the ecosystem intact. When it comes to fresh water, trees and forests are our greatest ally.
Air pollution in India is a serious environmental issue. Of the 30 most polluted cities in the world, 21 were in India. As per a study, at least 140 million people in India breathe air that is 10 times or more over the WHO safe limit, and 13 of the world's 20 cities with the highest annual levels of air pollution are in India. 51% of the pollution is caused by industrial pollution, 27% by vehicles, 17% by crop burning, and 5% by other sources. Air pollution contributes to the premature deaths of 2 million Indians every year. Emissions come from vehicles and industry, whereas in rural areas, much of the pollution stems from biomass burning for cooking and keeping warm. The most important reason for concern over the worsening air pollution in the country is its effect on the health of individuals. Exposure to particulate matter for a long time can lead to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases such as asthma, bronchitis, COPD, lung cancer, and heart attack. It was found that outdoor air pollution was the 5th largest killer in India, and around 620,000 early deaths occurred from air pollution-related diseases. According to the WHO, India has 14 out of the 15 most polluted cities in the world in terms of PM 2.5 concentrations. Other Indian cities that registered very high levels of PM 2.5 pollutants are Delhi, Patna, Agra, Muzaffarpur, Srinagar, Gurgaon, Jaipur, Patiala, and Jodhpur, followed by Ali Subha Al Salem in Kuwait and a few cities in China and Mongolia. Plants aren't just pretty to look at, they can actually purify the air in and around your home, and clean toxic soil, too. Whether moving into a new building or just bringing a product home for the first time, you might smell some of that new mattress, rug, clothes smell. That smell might be a marker of something new and exciting, but it comes from toxic VOCs released during manufacturing. Not to fear, bring some new houseplants in to help. Plants have the incredible potential to improve your air quality. Outside, plants can improve soil health, too. Pollution in and around your home can be a scary reality to confront, but these natural ways of reducing air and soil contamination are great steps towards reducing toxicity exposure of you, your family, your pets, and your garden. In a 1989 NASA study, scientists learned that when plants inhale Colorado-2 and exhale oxygen during photosynthesis processes, they also inhale air pollutants. They purify the air by essentially scrubbing it of cancer-causing VOCs and releasing clean oxygen. Trees play an especially important role in enhancing our quality of life in the urban environment, and this is acknowledged in the government's Sustainable Development Strategy. Trees improve air quality by acting as natural air filters, removing dust, smoke, and fumes from the atmosphere by trapping them on their leaves, branches, and trunks. Just 1 hectare of beech woodland can extract 4 tons of dust per year from the atmosphere. Trees reduce the greenhouse effect by removing carbon dioxide from the air and releasing oxygen. Each year, a mature tree produces enough oxygen for 10 people. Trees are also an effective sound barrier and can limit noise pollution. Recent research shows that trees also help reduce the stress of modern life. Trees in themselves benefit the environment and the landscape, but they are also an integral part of the ecosystem, providing benefits to wildlife and biodiversity. Trees, especially older or veteran trees and those in groups or woodlands, provide habitats for native ground flora such as bluebells and fauna, particularly bats, red squirrels, and invertebrates. The planting of trees and the care and preservation of mature trees can go a long way to making Trafford a great place to live, work, learn and relax. Trees give out oxygen, even because of them we have the rains. In short, they maintain the ecological balance. If we would cut trees, what is going to happen is that population won't stop growing, but oxygen in the atmosphere will reduce. Another effect can be scarcity of food. And many other problems are attached to it, such as less of rains will result in less water for irrigation. Less water for irrigation would result in less harvest, which would again lead to less food, and if this continues to happen for a long period of time, then it might lead to famine-type situations. Trees have to breathe to live, same as us and every living thing on the planet. They breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. We breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen. We've evolved around trees, they are the main things that give off oxygen. Without trees, we're not here. Cutting down trees takes away that oxygen. If you cut down a tree but plant 2 new ones, that is fine. Trees are living things too. The most important is, trees are necessary for rain. Trees creates cold and humid atmosphere required for rain. Second, when it rains, trees hold the water and is not allowed to pass over soil, which avoids floods. Third, they provide food to all of livings. If we continue to cut tree at larger extent, then it will definitely affect the rainfall and also will create an unstable atmosphere which will lend to destruction of Earth. When we cut down trees, we are taking a home away from animals. We loosen the ground, which mostly causes landslides. Trees cause shade, and without that shade the ground dries up faster and there is not as much nutrients. Save trees, save Earth.